Alright, so y'all are knee deep into talking about World War II, and we're going to talk about a piece of technology that was very new for World War II. The airplane had gone from a wooden and canvas vehicle that only had a few horsepower motor on it with the Wright brothers to 30 years into the future, a war machine that any country who was able producing it could use, alright, made out of metal. Big improvement from canvas and wood. So, in order to get these airplanes to where we need, especially out in the Pacific war region of World War II, we need to have aircraft carriers. My camera is acting really silly, and I'm really tired of it. If it goes in and out of focus, I am very sorry. I'm not restarting again. Alright. So this is going to be the flight deck of our boat here. Come on, camera. Alright. We are going to come back here. The flight deck actually hangs off just a little bit. Down, around, and stop. Then we're going to go flat, because the bottom of the ship was actually flat. Go up. Do a crook, and this is going to be the body of our boat. All right, a very big boat. So we got the flight deck on top, on the deck. I want you to draw a line to show where the hull is very thick on these, riveted, or a new technology, welding, to put these big pieces of metal together. Yeah, rivets were starting to go out. I know we talk about Rosie the Riveters, but we are starting to find better ways of merging metal together. Alright, so our thick hull. We have the rudder back here for such a large boat. Alright, and I know I'm only going to draw one propeller, but there's usually two huge propellers, you know, as tall as this room, driving the ship forward. Alright, and they chop up the water. So, here's the blueprint of what's inside this huge behemoth. So at the front, let's see here, going to have a ballast chamber here. A ballast is a way of balancing the boat. I'm going to draw across. Have another one right here. Another one right here. And a big old one back here. Right? If there's any little weird spaces like this, I'll just draw some lines, because yes, there are air pockets to help balance the ship, or there just wasn't enough room to build anything, or it needed support for just the heavy mass of this ship. So the first place down here is water storage. We do need water. We need water for our boilers. We need water for the men. On board, no women. Okay, it was considered too dangerous for women back then. Alright, so water storage. Here we had the boiler room. We did not have nuclear engines just yet. Okay, the boiler room was it. Okay, powered by oil or coal to make our ships go. And it was using steam power, boil water and make steam power to make the propeller go. Then we had the engine room, where they had the turbines to make everything spin. They would usually have multiple. Mechanics would often work in this room as well. And then we had the fuel tank. If they were working with oil or coal or whatever, fuel would be stored back here. So water up front. The water was also acting as a ballast to help balance the boat. Most of the weight of the boat needs to be at the bottom, otherwise you are going to be top heavy and tip over, and that's not good. That's a lot of money right there. Alright, draw a line from the top of the boiler room and the engine room across all the way to the back. Now remember, these are cities out on the sea. Everything that you need has to be on the boat. Otherwise you're not having it. So under here, it's going to sound interesting. Since it does need to be a boat that is on the sea, I'm going to stop there and come across here. We have, at least in this back area, back here, let's draw a little label, ammunition room. Ammunition. A-M-M-U-N-I-T-I-O-N. Ammunition room. This is where they would hold all the missiles and other things that they needed. Shells, really. Missiles weren't quite a thing yet. Not at least out at sea. So shells for anti-aircraft firing, bullets for the planes, bombs for the planes, all would be stored here. Let's see if I can spell ammunition in a nicer, neater way. Ammunition rooms back here. And that's necessary because of what was above that. Okay? Remember, this has to be a city at sea. So, what was actually behind that is interesting. There's a massive elevator. And there would be a door that opened up here. Massive elevator back here. And the rest of this big empty space was a hangar. Hangars where you store and repair airplanes. So they would have a place to do any repairs, put on missing parts, reload, if they need to reload the bombs. They would put the plane in the elevator, open up the hatch, and lower it down, and then drag it into. Now you're wondering, why aren't they pointing toward the elevator? Remember, the flight deck points this way, so they have to, as soon as they come up the elevator again, be able to take off. So we have a hangar. And it wasn't just one hangar, there were 2 hangars. Alright, so that's why the ammunition need to be down here. They take it up to the next level and load it into the planes. In between that, more underneath the surface of the water a little bit, not too much. Oops, I forgot a label for boiler room. I'm getting ahead of myself. Boiler room, engine room, and up here, these 3 here are crew quarters. So where the men sleep, where they have their mess hall, okay, or the galley, okay, where they get their meals every day, where they do their laundry, where they hang out, are all in these kind of rooms right here. There's also a few more places, and this is more storage up at the front for like new outfits if they needed, thread and needle if they need to repair one of their outfits, extra boots. Boots got worn out on these trips a lot. So they would have more storage up here at the front. And there would be a very special officer called a purser. Okay, you heard me right, purser. He would keep track of supplies. So he was in charge of the big book that said how much we had of everything and who used what and who checked in what, and just to make sure that nothing was stolen or missing. Yes, people did try and steal stuff, okay? It was hard being on a boat all the time. Kind of like being in quarantine all the time. All right, up on the flight deck we have something called a catch line. This line, there was actually a hook that would be lowered from the underside of the plane, and as the plane came in, it would actually hook onto this and it would slow them down so that they wouldn't go off the end of the, because that's bad, and you'd lose a whole plane. So we have our flight deck, and you can put, they had little lines down the middle of it just like in a road. Just to help the pilots center themselves up. These pilots really had to be crackerjack pilots, the best of the best. And whenever we lost one out in battle, it was always a big blow to the aircraft carrier. All right, up on top deck. If a plane needed repairs immediately up on deck, they had a special crane that could lift it up. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to call it the plane crane. Just in case they needed to repair something really, really fast and then put it back on. They didn't have enough time to bring it down to the hangar. So they had the plane crane. Now you think, this thing's a big sitting duck out. I say, no, it's not. Because it is also flanked, not only near where the officers are in the center of the boat, but also near the rear of the boat and the sides of the boat, smaller ones. We have anti-aircraft guns. And these are big guns. These are cannons, okay? And they load in a shell in this thing underneath, and it goes boom, all right, and shoots off. So we have anti-aircraft guns. We have ways of launching bombs and missiles at other aircraft carriers that we see, like Japanese ones. And then we have a building that's up above deck, okay? My alarm goes off in a moment, I'm very sorry. All right, so we have a stairwell here, so people can't get up and down these levels. We have places for meeting rooms, so the pilots know exactly what to do when we're going over plans and how to invade and attack. We have officers' quarters. So the officers sleep above deck, okay? We have a tall crow's nest looking thing. And this is the aircraft lookout tower. Oops. Aircraft lookout. To see, someone will always be out there day and night looking to see if there's anyone out there. We also had radio out for help, to talk with other, boats that are nearby. We also had later in the war sonar to be looking for anyone underwater, because there were submarines in the area too. You got to be careful of that. All right, and central office, of course, is in here. I'll just put CO for central office, for making any plans of attack between the officers. Not only that, you would also have medical bay, which is usually below deck. You would have the kitchens. You would have a laundry room to wash things. So there's a lot that happens on top of one of these aircraft carriers. All right, so go ahead and take a picture of what you have copied from me and go ahead and submit it. And I can't wait to see y'all's submissions. All right, talk to you later.